Going to talk some Cardano news and charts in this video. As much as the crypto space has been like kind of asleep lately, under the radar news for ADA and a handful of other coins happening yesterday, and the ADA monthly, the weekly, and then the daily. I want to zoom in and start talking about price action for ADA at this moment after we had this massive liquidation like a couple weeks ago or so. It's been a minute since I've done some Cardano technical analysis, so I'm looking forward to doing that. So hit the subscribe and like on the way in. If you're not in our intelligence system with our risk models, our exit planners, get back there. I posted this a little bit ago. I'm so excited, everybody. You don't understand how hard this has been. Text alerts are coming to CCV. We're quietly testing something new inside CCVI intelligence. Price-based exit alerts, risk-based exit alerts sent directly to your phone. Hit the link below, get set up with a trial, start planning for this cycle. So let's start. Before I dig into the Cardano part of the video, I really do want to just mention a couple of things in relation to altcoins, because this plays into Cardano. Alts haven't been this oversold ever. Do what you want with this information. What he's posting here is altcoins versus Ethereum. So this isn't even an altcoins versus Bitcoin chart. This is versus the top altcoin, Ethereum. And it's a very nice view of altcoins. And here I pulled up the chart and I overlaid kind of the business cycle kind of data points that we've been tracking on this YouTube channel. Quantitative tightening, what's crypto doing? QE, what's crypto doing? Post QE, what's crypto doing? We've had the most massive amount of time of quantitative tightening that altcoins have ever gone through. And this is what the chart looks like. But what I want to show you on this chart, and then we're going to look into Cardano charts, is this most oversold that it's ever been. You can just see this mass liquidation event, or I'm sorry, this was not this is a weekly chart. The mass liquidation event was right here in October. But this August swing low, the most oversold it's ever been. And now, after having the mass liquidation event, you see on this altcoin chart, we're putting in like a higher low. There's some crazy bullish divergence happening on this chart right now. And if you just go back and you note, last time we were oversold in such a way was June 2023. That was a bottom. And then back here, if you look at January 2021, this was the beginning of altcoin season. I mean, altcoin season really kicked off towards the end of 2020 and then into 2021. That's that move right there. This is where altcoins are right now. I think that's very important to realize as we look at all of the crypto space, but especially as we start looking at Cardano charts and we start kind of getting a sense of where's ADA in this move. So before we look at the charts, I want to go over a couple of things. This is Grayscale yesterday. I think this was yesterday. Yep. We're honored to celebrate the launch of the Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF, the first multi-asset crypto fund in the US. And they were ringing the opening bell yesterday at the New York Stock Exchange. So the bell ringing, it happened. And what does it mean though? Well, this is why it's a big deal for ADA. Cardano ADA is part of the ETF, along Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. Nice to see Cardano part of the first multi-asset crypto ETF in the US. Cardano's no joke, everybody. It's an OG. It is the most decentralized, scalable, and secure chain, and it has so many good narratives going for it besides just the ETF stuff. And the ETF stuff, besides just this headline news, there's other stuff going on. If you remember, Grayscale Smart Contract Fund. Guess what's in there? Cardano. Also, on the very short term, SEC decision on the Grayscale Cardano Trust ETF is approaching. So the standalone Cardano ETF is approaching. Let's see what this shutdown leads to. I really thought the shutdown was going to end in this previous week. It did not. But SEC kind of just waiting for the shutdown to end. A green light here could mark a major step toward institutional access to ADA. So these things are happening right now for Cardano alongside everything else, Bitcoin DeFi, Midnight, and all that other, just the scalability and all of these implementations that are happening on Cardano. So let's do some Cardano analysis. I wanted to look at the monthly and then we'll start zooming in closer to the charts. Really what I wanted to just really point out on the monthly was this. What just happened? Record-breaking liquidations in crypto. This is what the ADA chart looks like. I mean, this chart, this candle on the monthly, there's only one other candle on the monthly chart that looks even, close, and it's this one. And that was COVID in March 2020. What I want to point to your attention are a few things really. Number one, that was Cardano consolidating below the 20-month moving average, and it still entered a bull market. Right now, this is actually so far Cardano consolidating above the 20-month moving average. You can see this green line here. The 50-month moving average is very confluent with that area. That's number one. But from a momentum standpoint, which I would say is even more important if we start looking at momentum, the RSI. I noticed during that COVID swing low, you can see the RSI really consolidating kind of below this signal line that you see here in purple, and then making a break back to the upside. This is interesting to me because as we evaluate and try and find out, what's the next monthly candle going to look like for Cardano, it doesn't necessarily need to be green, by the way, but can Cardano break back above that signal line on the RSI? You can see even from where this is, very similar area, pre-bull market area on the RSI, momentum to the upside is signaling for Cardano there is a whole potential bull market still in store for Cardano. The stock RSI, quicker moving momentum oscillator, the consolidation on this chart looks so similar to that COVID swing low that we had back here. And just look at it, almost also in the same exact area. And just look at the consolidation for this entire cycle on this stock RSI. It's a quicker moving momentum oscillator, but man, the consolidation of altcoins in general is very nicely illustrated on this ADA chart. So we go down and kind of scale zoomed in to the weekly, and then we're going to make our way to the shorter term price action, what to anticipate in the coming days. This is what the weekly is looking like. The thing that I wanted to mention on the weekly is, not so much the momentum, and you can just see, just to give you a glance of the RSI on the weekly, it's still just higher highs, higher lows on the weekly RSI, the slower moving momentum oscillator. But really, it's kind of like this concept of post-capitulation. I know when you're zoomed out, it kind of looks like, man, COVID swing low capitulation, it bounced right up. But if you really think about it, the time, the weeks even after the capitulation, right here, there was like uncertainty. And you can just see we were kind of falling into this capitulation wick, and there was uncertainty. What's Cardano going to do next? It wasn't like the day after capitulation, it was just up. This is a weekly zoomed out. It took time. It took weeks to kind of climb out. And so this is a constant theme. You can even look at the bear market low. It was like uncertain. We made a little bit of move to upside, and then we actually tested those lows again. I'm not saying we're going to have such a prolonged move like that, but you can just see every time there's some type of capitulation. Here is August 2024, sideways for months, really. It's not going to be, and it really never has been, immediate capitulation bounce, boom, right? So this is kind of what I'm watching on this weekly chart is like, what's the consolidation going to look like on the weekly? We got a sense of what we need to see happen on the monthly. What I want to see happen on the weekly is not only the support above the 200-week moving average that you see here, it's around 56 cents. I really want to see ADA get back above the 200-week and the 50. And we're looking at around 80 cents to like 76 cents, 76, 80 cents. That's the move I'm looking for ADA. If we zoom in and we start looking at the daily chart, 76 to 80 cents. Let's just put that here just so that we can kind of get an illustration on the daily, what we were just looking at on the weekly. There's 76, there's 80. You can kind of see falling into that general area is the 50-day moving average, a very important area for ADA to break above. But what I wanted to point out to you on this chart is the 20-day, because it's the general retest of the 20. It doesn't have to be an immediate bounce into the 20. It can just be the two just trickling into each other as there's crazy consolidation, which there's been crazy consolidation, up, down, right? There's structure forming, but I want to see a move like we saw back here. And I don't know if it's going to happen in the coming days. I don't know if there's going to be rejection and we're going lower and we have to kind of start really trying to identify maybe some bullish divergence on the daily, right? Like higher low on the RSI, and then we're going lower on price, right? We're kind of falling into the 50s. People are getting really bearish while there's some bullish divergence, and then the bottom is in. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm looking for this move. I'm looking for ADA now that we've gotten this big dip, right? Here's a big dip. Consolidation, break above the 20. That's the first move on this chart that I'm looking for. Ultimately, I want to see ADA get back above the 20 and, or I'm sorry, the 50 in blue, the 200. Again, the 80 to 76 cent area is important, but I'm telling you right now, in the short term, 70 cents is probably more important, because obviously in order to get to that area, we need to break this 20-day moving average. So now that Cardano has kind of consolidated for, all of this time since the capitulation in like October 10th area, we can start, I think, watching and anticipating, well, ADA is about to test this area probably. What happens, right? That's my question right now on ADA. On the short term, if ADA starts breaking above and starts holding support above the 20-day moving average, we might start seeing a flip of bullish momentum on a lot of these shorter term charts. And I imagine a lot of that will be also happening on other altcoin charts as well. But right now, let's kind of watch. You can see we've really just consolidated. Before even the mass liquidations happened right here, we were already tracking this pattern. We were tracking the mid 60s as a target area, and we hit it. And we're consolidating at that area right now. It is no surprise. Technical analysis works, everybody. And we didn't even know that this liquidation moment was going to happen. It just played right into the technical move, that is the continued breakdown, right? We were getting a little bit of a pullback. We were hoping for a busted pattern to break to the upside. It didn't happen. We broke to the downside. We hit a target, and we're consolidating at that mid 60 target. And that's what's happening right now. So that's what I'm watching on the short term, as well as really the weekly and the monthly, the long term. So these are my thoughts on Cardano, everybody. I'm bullish on crypto right now for Q4 2026. It's been higher highs, higher lows. You cannot ignore that from the bear market lows. The only thing that's not been is immediate, crazy 10, 20x gains for everybody. That just is what it is. And so I'm kind of trying to just pace myself with these markets and really study the business cycle and everything else that is going on right now. So if you're a macro investor like me, you want to join our members, join me back here in our intelligence system, get access to our risk models, because if we start getting a bull move, it's going to be incredibly valuable. And I say this for me to know and have a very unemotional idea and approach to taking profits and getting alerted. I'm so excited to be testing this right now, and hopefully we can deliver this to all of you members out there. Right now we have email alerts, but getting a text message from CCV to take profits, I think that's just going to be next level. I think it's a game changer. So hit the link below, get a trial set up if you're interested, and try us out. I appreciate all of you cruising through. I will see you in the next video. God bless.